Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Andy.
And welcome to Before, Beyond and Everything in Between podcast.
A caffeinated meltdown. So welcome. Thanks for coming back to listen to another exciting episode of our wonderful podcast.
Yes, it's getting easier to do week by week, I must admit. Being that we're complete newbies to it, and I'm still sort of getting my head around the editing process and what are we going to talk about, if we are going to talk about anything. And it's, there's not a lot of planning around it. We just, for want of a better word, wing it.
Well, this is it. This is what we do. This is what we do best. We just wing the shit out of it.
Indeed. Yes. However, I did want to touch on something that I see today that I didn't expect to see. But did you know the old JFK files have now been released?
Have they?
They have.
Oh, they kept that quiet.
Yeah. So apparently there's something in the region of 80,000 pages.
Yep.
That they've put, and this is only the first tranche that they've put out.
Right.
And I see someone being interviewed about it earlier. He's like a political historian in America. And he's saying that his team have looked or tried their best to look through the first tranche of the 80,000 pages, and there's no redactions.
Oh.
So that will be interesting.
Yeah, but will it though? Because, ultimately he's fucking dead, isn't he? And I mean, let's just lay this out as it is.
Cut to the chase.
Just cut to the chase. Did he die or no? So basically, what we're trying to get at is, was there more than one shooter? I guess is what we're looking at, yeah?
They've said from what they've read already, doing the research, I mean, it's only been out a matter of hours, I think.
Yeah.
They're saying that the CIA were heavily involved.
Right.
And the only reason it went to the Warren report and they kept it quiet to the extent of no, there was only one shooter, is because they feared this would start a world war.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So because there was, if anyone is interested in the JFK theories and everything, and they've done the history around it, there was obviously not assassination attempts, but there was sort of a plan to assassinate Castro, which was called Operation Mongoose, I think he said. So there's quite a lot around that.
Yeah.
And obviously that falls in line with the Cuban Missile Crisis and everything else. So that's why they're saying there was only one shooter with regards to JFK, because they thought this is like a pressure cooker waiting to go off.
Wow. So,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, cut to the chase, did he die or didn't he? I mean, yes, he did. I mean, guess what thing I'm waiting for is the conspiracy files around aliens and the unexplained aerial phenomenon, UAPs.
Oh, yes.
I want to know about that shit. I want to know what's going on with the little green men, Area 51 and all that.
He says with his Yoda T-shirt on.
Oh, Yoda best. Yoda best. So, I mean, going back to the JFK, it does bring me quite aptly on this segue onto this week's lucrative sponsor.
Go, hit me with it.
This week's lucrative sponsor is wildflower seeds. If you want to bury a dead body, cover it in wildflower seeds, because it's illegal to dig them up.
And funnily enough, as another segue, I done a specific exam today, and that was one of the questions.
Was it really?
It was.
Oh, see, there you go. See, that was our lucrative sponsor this week. Seeds.
Is it classed as theft if you dig up wildflowers?
Well, actually, I can answer that question for you. Yes, it is, because they do belong to somebody. There you go. I learnt that way back when I was doing a course on law. Yes, those flowers do actually belong to somebody. It's like if you try and kill a swan, they belong to His Majesty. Yeah.
Not that I think he wants them.
Well, this is apparently the only person that can eat a swan is the king. Apparently.
Would you want to?
Wow, I get the essence. They're going to smell. They're going to taste a bit like seagull. Like,
have you tasted seagull?
Well, funny you should say that, right? There was this one time at band camp. No, right. I mean, you can just assume that they're going to smell like gutter rat and bin bags, can't you? So You know, I'm just thinking swans, chips, they look majestic. Like, oh, look at me, majestic, my big neck. But I bet they taste like absolute horse shit. Not that I've even tasted horse shit, but there we go. So, there we go.
That hole's getting bigger and bigger. That's what she said.
That's what she said. What shit. How's your week been, Nick?
Well, what are we in? We're on Wednesday, aren't we? So
we
happy hump day.
Oh, that's what she said.
So this week in the life of Nick, bit of a poor show, I must admit, work-wise.
Yep.
Without going into too much, I'm the only one there, apart from today because I had an exam to sit. But from next week, it gets doubly worse. So can't wait for that.
Well, that's something to look forward to next week's podcast, where Nick will tell us in just how depressing his week has been and how depressing next week's going to be. I'm sure I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, next week's, So welcome to next week's podcast, where Nick has a mental breakdown on it.
Yeah, this is it. Well, so I think, actually, I've just looked at the screen, and I'm thinking, I've just looked at the screen again, because obviously we video this. Just so we can see each other whilst we're talking, and I just remembered each week we should publish my name because I think it's wasted. You know, Nick comes on the screen and tells you who he is, and obviously this week, Nicholas, what am I called this week?
This week, Andy is quite aptly named Thomas the Wank Engine.
There you go, chew fucking chew.
That's not smoke coming out of his chimney.
That's right, yeah. Whoop, whoop. Can I get a hell yeah? So there we go. So this week in the news, what was exciting in the news this week? Well, we found out that the JFK files have been released today within hours, and we're hoping for other conspiracy files to be released in the coming days, which will be quite exciting. So, talking about conspiracy files and conspiracy theories, what is the biggest conspiracy theory that you believe is true?
Ooh. Now, this could go in so many different directions.
Yes.
So, leaning into one of my favourite books, shall we say, could you imagine if there was an actual descendant from Jesus Christ?
Oh, now that brings me on to a quick one. So basically,
that's what she said.
That's what she said. Woo! So I don't know whether I've ever told you the story.
You are the descendant of Jesus Christ.
This is it. So aptly this week, I am the descendant of Jesus Christ, and I'll tell you for why.
Only this week.
Only this week. And I found it out, and this is the reason why. Are you ready? Hold on to your seats, listeners. So Jesus could walk on water. I can walk on cucumbers. Cucumbers are 98% water. Therefore, today I am 98% Jesus. And how do you like them apples?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so carry on. Tell me about your theory that a descendant from Christ.
Well, it's not necessarily a theory. It's more a provoking thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if I told you that quite a long while back, I think it was when the Da Vinci Code actually came out.
Yeah.
I was down the pub with a few mates. None of us are religious, or what I deemed that none of us were religious.
Yeah.
And we got on to talking around books and authors and stuff like that, as you do when you've had a few jars. Because we're very intellectual.
Obviously, yeah.
Don't talk about football.
Do you know what we talk about is like, what's your favourite book? Escort, Reader's Wives. I read the Argos catalogue once.
So, yeah, I said, I'm currently reading the Da Vinci Code. And I went, it is quite thought-provoking. I went, could you imagine if there was an actual descendant from Jesus Christ and someone was walking the earth now that was in the sort of the direct lineage of and my mate blew a gasket.
Really?
No, that's complete horseshit. No, it's totally wrong. I'm like, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying, could you imagine if it was true? But he wouldn't have it. Honestly, we had a full-blown massive argument. And you know when you sit there sometimes you think, why are we having this discussion?
Yeah.
Like I can't believe it's got to the point that we're shouting at one another in a pub over literature. Yeah, and I'm like, well, we need to stop this conversation because you're obviously getting really upset about it.
Well,
But yeah. And but that's my not putting that out to the listeners, whether you are religious or atheist or agnostic or any of the other eggs. Yeah, what would everyone else's fault be behind it? Do you? Because I've been watching something on the Knights Templar, which is interesting.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little story about that off air.
You're a Knights Templar.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, there was apparently they've got bones and remnants of John the Baptist, Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, and their children.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
So yeah, it's stuff like that where you think, you don't sit there and go, no, that's complete horseshit. I don't believe a word of it. I think that's what conspiracy theories are meant to do. They're meant to provoke thought and conversation, and to where you're like, this could be true.
Yeah, and you know, whenever he sort of references religion and things like that, it always takes me back to Monty Python, The Life of Brian. You know, he's not the Messiah; he's just a very naughty boy. It's one of those subjects, isn't it? They always say, "Do not discuss politics or religion," and for very good cause, because it can really cause a good old dust up, can't it? And that's the thing. But yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a subject that we'd love to hear from others. You know, Nick would like to hear from you.
Absolutely. I may even do a poll on the Facebook group.
Oh, do a poll. Tell us in the comments. So my biggest conspiracy theory that I believe is 100% factual and true is the Mandela effect. People don't believe that it actually is real. I do. I really do.
So, because I always get these kind of things muddled up with other things. So let me correct me if I'm wrong. The Mandela effect is something that you thought has happened, which hasn't necessarily happened. So, for example, a line in a film that everyone quotes what they think is verbatim, and then when you watch said film, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Is that the thing?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it'll be, I mean, there's some really, really public ones. For example, the Bearstein Bears, which is a kids' TV program, and they're saying that's, you know, that it was called the Bearstein Bears or Burstein Bears or something. Yeah. The Fruit of the Loom logo. And the biggest one I heard not long ago was that was it 2012 when they said we were having the rapture and everybody was going to die basically in 2012. And they said that actually they say that when you die, your life flashes before your eyes. And actually collectively what we're all experiencing is our life being played out in slow time. So we actually all died in 2012. We're all just living this existence.
I don't know whether this has been, it can't be scientifically proven, but I've heard it so many times that it sort of gathered momentum to the fact it could be true around when that's saying, it's my life flashed before my eyes.
Yep.
And I think, what I've been told is people say that in the moment of the utmost stress. So if you take the fact that you're pretty much on the throes of death or something really bad to that extent is just about to happen to you, your life flashes before your eyes because your brain is trying to replay every time you've been in that situation to say, how did we get out of this? It's trying to find an answer of, you're about to get hit by a bus and you're going to die a very grisly death. Has this happened before? And how did we get out of it?
Yeah. Interestingly then, so my wife said to me she believes that she is a reincarnation. She believes she had a past life.
Oh, interesting. So do you believe in reincarnation?
I don't know, because she says she must have been an evil person. She must have done some horrible stuff in her life, because she said there seems to be a run of like misfortunate things that happened in her life, which made her believe that actually that was sort of comeuppance for the things she committed, the atrocities in her former life. And it did get me thinking. And I thought to myself, actually, that's quite interesting. Now, I have a friend, and we called him John. And John, when we were, I don't know, in our mid-20s, said to me, "Oh, I did one of these past life regression things, where I got hypnotized. And turns out I was born again. I had a different life." I said, "Oh, go on then, John. What was your life?" And he went, "Well, not as exciting as you would think." He said, "I was from Cornwall." I was like, "All right, yeah, cool. Well, we are in Cornwall." He went, "Yep." He said, "I worked in a big manor house." I went, "Oh, yeah, right, yeah, what else?" And he went, "I was the gardener." I went, "All right." And I went, "Well, what else?" And he went, No, that was it. He said I was the fucking gardener, like a big manor house, and like I was telling her all about the people and the flowers and things that I would have no interest in. I've got no interest in like horticulture or whatever. He said, apparently I was telling this woman, and on the recording he was telling her about the plants and the flowers and the grounds and his life dedication to the ground, being a groundskeeper and a gardener and I said, "Are you sure you're not like playing out Lady Chatterley's lover or something in your head?" And he was like, No, it wasn't even that exciting. It was literally dull as dishwater. I was the gardener in Cornwall of a manor house. And I was like, okay then.
No wonder he got a second chance.
Well, that's right. He was like, "You boring fuck." So he became a bus driver. Not abdicating. I'm just saying that bus drivers might not be boring. I'm just saying he went on to be a bus driver, which he self-described as being boring.
Wow. No, he's got out of that one.
Yeah, fuck me. I need a big
shovel. So your wife reckons she's been. So what is this past life that she's saying that she's reincarnate from?
Well, she hasn't really said, but she has. I actually get on her as a guest, really. But she's just said, that she strongly believes she's been reincarnated, and also there has been. She's another thing that we both believe, actually, quite interestingly, is that when one goes, another one comes. And that's what she said. And interestingly, we have had in our family a elderly family member depart very closely to a family member coming. And it could be,
I tried my hardest to snigger then.
As he was stroking as we digressed. So, we believe that, when a close family member has departed and passed away, that it's either been a family member has announced that they are expecting a child or that child has been born. And it like true and right as clockwork, we have pretty much had one come and one leave, which is weird in our family.
It's almost a revolving door. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like, there's not enough space in the family. We need to move one on before we get another one to come through. Weird, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you say that. This is where it takes a morbid turn. I saw a TikTok the other day, and this TikTok said, in after you die, a week after the funeral, everybody will be upset. 2 weeks later, people will go back to work. A month later, people will be watching a television program and smile because something has made them laugh. 6 months later, you'll be a passing thought. A year later, people have forgotten and they'll just moved on and you'll be a glancing thought. And I was like, wow, that is really impactful. And then another TikTok going down the rabbit hole, because I obviously spent far too much time on TikTok. There was another one that said, your great-grandparents, can you remember them? And I went, yeah, I can, actually. I can remember my great-grandparents. Not greatly, but I can. And I know their names, but I don't remember much about them. And I couldn't tell you their address and what they really looked like. Well, can you remember your great-great-grandparents? No. So now think about that car you bought. Where will that be after you die? That house that you spent all your time saving and scrimping, where's that going to be? Where's that holiday that you took every year to Florida? Where's that? Will the people remember it? So don't do things to leave behind. Live for today and enjoy your life. And I was like, wow, that's deep. But actually, that's what she said. Yeah. But yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. And it is, life is, I mean, we're getting into a deeper subject here. We've digressed from reincarnation.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Life is, one, short, and two, just very fragile at times. And this is what I say to Sam on the regular. It's, let's live our life. I mean, I don't want to be able to work 35, 40 years just to live 7.
Well, do you know, and I was talking to my mate Rich, and he said that he knows so many people that have worked 40, 45 years for his company he works for. He said they retired, lived 5 years on this amazing pension for 5 years, and they fucking died. And Rich is like, well, I'm not going to work until my retirement age. I'm going to retire early. It's a bit of a deep subject to talk about, really, but it's quite an important one, I guess. Is what I'm trying to get to, and what the subject is we've digressed onto, is that I am a strong believer that you should live your life for today. And yes, okay, I've got a mortgage. My plan is, obviously, my kids will inherit what I have paid into. Yep. Like I might inherit what my parents have paid into. To make my life a little bit easier. That just seemed to be the common thread in my family. That's what we do. We buy a house, and then, when somebody passes on, the person gets left a bit of money. That's always seems to be the way. Seems to be the way of a lot of families. But equally, just enjoy the now. And that's why we're doing this podcast, guys, because we're living for the now. We are, people will listen to this, and people I know will listen to this and probably think, oh, well, bloody hell, we don't listen to these bloody idiots for half an hour. But actually, I don't really care, because I am here because I get to talk to my mate Nick, and he gets to talk to me. We get to have a bit of a giggle. We get to do something we both enjoy, and that's editing, filming, and this is our hobby, and we both enjoy it.
Yeah, it's exactly, and that is the sole reason of that. I think we sort of touched on in our very first podcast episode, where we've got to find the enjoyment in stuff, and doing this podcast is a hobby, and it's sort of a relaxant for me after especially today. It's been a semi-stressful day, so for me to come on and just not necessarily vent today, but sort of air out my feelings and have a chin wag and tell some jokes and some funny stories and have a chat with yourself, Andy. But yeah, this is my downtime.
Please don't call me Andy. Please refer to me as my proper name, Thomas the Wank Engine.
Sorry, Tom.
Please refer to me. Please refer to me as Thomas the Wank Engine.
But yeah, this to me is my relaxing time.
Yeah,
to de-stress and have a chat, because it's, when you was younger, you used to phone your mates up, fancy going down the pub. Yeah, we're going down the pub, and that's what you used to do. Now we're of an older, what's the word I'm looking for? More distinguished, more rounded,
seasoned,
a seasoned gentleman, shall we say? And I don't like leaving my house. What a better way to do and have a chat and have a drink over a podcast.
Yeah. And it's really weird you say about getting to the age where you think, it's got dark now, I'm not going outside, I might get attacked or something. But it's really, really weird that it got to 6:00 last night, and I was like, oh, I think I'm done now. I got back from work at what was it last night? Or the night before? I got back late, didn't I, the other night? And I messaged you, I think it was 7 o'clock. Yeah. And I got back in, I took my suit off, and I was putting my pyjama bottoms on, it might be Christmas pyjama bottoms and a t-shirt, and I was like, right, that's it, I'm in now. And I was like, my son had his girlfriend over, and I was like, I'm not even apologetic. The fact that I am literally at 7:30 wearing Christmas pyjamas while sitting at the dinner table eating macaroni and cheese. I regret no zero fucks were given, as they say. Yeah. And I just thought, no, because I was done. I didn't want to go out anywhere. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd probably be on PJs now if I didn't have to go and pick my daughter up from work in an hour. But yeah. So this week on the telly box, I have watched Adolescent on Netflix, the new Stephen Graham psychological drama. I can't really describe it, but it's like a psychological drama. Stephen Graham, and written by him and some other chap called Jack, which I can't remember his name. Terribly sorry. But Adolescence on Netflix. Check it out. It is awesome. Nick, have you seen it yet?
I've seen bits of it on social media. It is earmarked to be watched, but I haven't watched it yet. My mum asked me about it earlier, funnily enough. Oh, have you watched this yet? It's really, really good. I like Stephen Graham. I think he's a very, very good actor. He's a real actor.
Yeah.
And not as in to say he's very good. He's very good at playing very realistic roles.
Yeah. Well, interestingly about the show, I didn't watch it because it was of the subject matter.
Yeah.
I either thought I wasn't really interested in a psychological drama, but I watched it because I'd read that it was a one-shot camera production. So they had one camera, and they said action, clicked record, and for the whole hour, it was one continuous take, no breaks, one single camera. Right from the very start, where the armed police were raiding the house, there's no spoiler, but that's the opening scene where the armed police are raiding a house, right through the entire process of driving to a police station. That camera was absolutely, the camera work was seamless. It was absolutely phenomenal. And as a bit of a camera nerd and a bit of a filmography type perspective, cinematography, Nick will appreciate as well as I do the work that went into getting this filmed was just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, check it out. It's on Netflix. If you haven't got a subscription, leech it off somebody else. The whole password sharing thing's a myth. Go for it. Stream from illegal sources. You fill your boots, my love. You do what you do. You every day's best. Live life, make you happy. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, but thanks for listening to our podcast this week. You have been listening to the Caffeinated Meltdown with me, Thomas, and
Thomas. Oh, this is going to be a recurring thing every podcast where I have a laugh.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for listening this week, guys. This is all from me, and it's all from him.
Yes, it is indeed. Thank you for listening.